Welcome to another episode of MarTech Unraveled, where we decode the intersection of marketing, technology, and strategy in today's digital world. Today, I'm joined by a marketing powerhouse, Dr Mzamo Masito, the Africa lead for Canva and the former CMO of Google Africa. We're unpacking a critical question: what does the role of the modern CMO look like in an era of AI, data obsession, and cultural complexity? From navigating the tension between brand and performance to whether brands should take a stand on social issues, Dr. Masito will share deep insight, bold perspective, and hard-earned wisdom. Whether you're a marketer, a founder, or a future CMO, this conversation is one you don't want to miss. Welcome to the episode, Dr. Mzamo.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So let's start from the top and let's, start with your journey. What did the role of a CMO look like when you started out, and how has it evolved over the past? And, tell us a bit about your journey as you share the evolving role of when you started as a CMO.
I got lucky in that I started as a CMO at a time. I started in a CPG, so consumer goods or FMCG. So there, the brand and the consumer and the user was at the center. And if your career, you wouldn't become a CMO or VP of running a business without having gone through being a marketing assistant, marketing manager, brand manager, or marketing director, then all the way up to CMO and running a full P&L. So we not only did product launches or advertising or comms or market research, you name it, all 4 Ps or 7 Ps of marketing, we did those, but also we were responsible for the P&L. We were responsible for gross margin growth plans, profit growth plans, revenue growth plans. So you are working directly with sales as well. You're working in the factory line. You understand the production supply chain from sourcing to planning to sourcing, all of those, all the way to making the product and then delivering the product in stores. So you were really integral part of the business, and you could easily become a CEO of a business. So whereas now, a lot of CMOs cannot easily become CEOs of businesses. So my career started early in market research, market insights, behavioral insights, media as a specialist. Mine started as a specialist and then moved to a generalist. And CMOs are generalists. They're not necessarily specialists in the sense that they are masters of none and jack of all trades, but they're not specialists like a digital marketing person, sponsorship, retail, PR comms. All of those are specialists, but CMOs tend to be generalists in a sense. So I must say I started at a time when classical marketing was at its core, and training of marketeers was really, there was a lot of investment in training marketeers, which I find little now or less happening. And then, so my career started at Unilever. And then from Unilever, I moved into Nike. And the joy of moving to Nike is that Unilever is very structured, was very discipline orientated, template, how to write a brief, how to evaluate an agency, how to assess, how to measure, how to track, all of those things. Then I moved to Nike, and Nike was about creativity. And Nike was no brief. For example, when I joined Nike, then I asked, what's the brief for World Cup? Then my former boss gave me a business card, and just a card, and it was written, "Win World Cup."
Wow.
And that was the brief. Whereas if I was at Unilever, I would have gotten a 2-page or 3-page detailed templated brief. At Nike, I got none. And when I asked for templates, they're like, no, you make up your own. You decide, but we're all about creativity, about doing things better, things that have not been done yet, or things that have been done, but done better. So Nike was just about just being outside the box. And really thinking and all of that. Then I moved from Nike into Vodafone and Vodacom. And Vodacom, which was actually amazingly, it helps when you're in partnership with a CEO like Shamil at Vodacom. loves marketing, who loves the power of marketing, the power of brand building, power of brand development. So you have a partner that also wants to see the campaign at its production phase, from brief all the way to ideation, to production, to post-production. And he's there all the way, every step of the process, giving ideas, giving input. So then you get lucky when you get that kind of a CEO that also embraces the power of marketing, brands, and building brands, and using marketing to grow the business. So that also helped. And then I moved from there to Google. And then with Google, it's just you're dealing with like an amazing CMO, which is Lorraine Tuhill, and global CMO, who has presence, executive presence as a marketeer, and also understands the product, who understands the user, and who also loves magic. So she gets that marketing is not just science, or marketing is also art, and it's also magic. So then that also helped. So now I'm with Canva, and with Canva, Canva is a visual online communication platform. So it's all about creativity. It's all about visual storytelling. And it's all about how do we make storytelling better using visual online platforms, from video to imagery, you name it, from presentations to spreadsheets to developing websites, social posts, all of those. That's all about creativity. So there, it's like all of a sudden now you are in a place where they converge and they live in the intersection between art and science.
Okay, that's really, really interesting. So, maybe are we the ones who've totally misunderstood what the CMO should be doing? And I say that because there was a recent article, LinkedIn post by Nyandia Gashago, who was a former guest on this podcast. She's a co-founder of an agency called Minty Lime in Kenya. And she posed the question, where the bleep have all the CMOs gone? And she was suggesting that in chasing ROI and performance, marketers have lost the emotional storytelling and the cultural resonance. What's your take, based on what you just said, on the state of the CMO role, and what should the modern CMO be prioritizing to stay effective and relevant?
The thing is, where we run a danger when we make a discipline one thing. It's not either or. If you are in a business that exists to generate and create the most value, the most shareholder value, while doing the most good that it can, it's not either or, it's end. You are not a great brand lead or CMO if you cannot create the most value for the business. And you cannot do the most good for the brand and the end user at the same time. So it's not either or. And we are not in the business of only talking to a head, and then every now and then talk to the heart, and then every now and then talk to feelings and guts and intuitions. I don't know why we all of a sudden pigeonhole ourselves into, no, now we're only talking to hearts, as if that's how the human body and biology works. And we know that it's trickier than that, and that it's messy. The consumer is messy. The psychology and behavior of the consumer, it's messy. It's not linear. There's feelings, there's emotions, there's intuition, there's gut, there's heart, there's rational, there's irrational.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should narrow ourselves into, no, we are only in the business of magic feelings. No, we're also in the business of increasing revenue. We're in the business of increasing market share, net promoter score, brand health scores, making money for the business, and creating the most value, intangible value of that asset called brand must grow. The tangible value, which is reflected in the P&L cash flow, that also must grow. So we are not in this business of either or. We are in the business of end. And by the way, this does not just apply to marketing. This applies to HR. It applies to other disciplines. HR is not there just for human resources. It's also there because at the end, all of us are there to create shareholder value, are there to increase shareholder value. Whichever discipline that is there, procurement, you name it, it is there to create the most value for the business. and then do the most good that it can. So I don't know why all of a sudden there's a feeling that marketing should be excused from creating value for the business, or should only be doing stuff where we look like we're smoking weed and we're high and up in the sky and really happy people, and we like gypsies and hippies.
Yeah.
That's all we are, hippies and gypsies and just all of that. And we wear colorful clothes and we all of that. We live in mountains and dream stuff,
Yeah.
and then come down, implement them, and then all of a sudden we leave our real lives and go and be in fairyland and be fairy tale and fairy if we have to. So I just think it's a truth, but it's not the full truth about what makes a CMO.
So, so where did we lose the way? Is it at the point where budgets became leaner and you're being asked to do more with less, and so you're like, how can we quickly convert, and forgot about the feeling and the heart and the storytelling? Or was it, you talked about, Unilever and how structured it was, and, how you had to experience every single part of the production process versus, the more, startup, like, let's kind of go with the flow kind of brand companies came along. Is that where we lost the way? I don't know.
Here's the thing. I think we must also accept that this is also industry specific. Some industries, marketing has never led.
Okay.
So we must also accept this, that some industries, marketing has never led. And I don't think it has led. For example, if you are in engineering businesses, the engineer or the finance person, salespeople tend to lead. If you're in banking industry, the economist or the lawyer or the banker tend to lead. So we must also accept that all disciplines are also affected and influenced by the industry that they are in. If you are in Silicon Valley, a lot of Silicon Valley CEOs are led by engineers. And a lot of those engineers, not all of them are brand centric, but there are also CEOs that are also consumer and brand centric, even though they are engineers. I mean, Apple or Microsoft or Google or wouldn't grow to be what they are and great brands if the CEO was not only also not brand centric and consumer centric and doesn't respect the CMO. So it's also industry. So let's accept that in some industries, there's a lot more heavy lifting that you need to do as a CMO. And in some industries like CPG or retail, you might do less because there the brand and the consumer is embedded. It's in the center. The others, you might have to do a lot more. So where I feel like we've gone wrong then is that the first thing is we need to stop blaming the CEOs and the CFOs and procurement, because it's much easier to externalize blame to other functions. By the way, there was a time where procurement was not the cool kid on the block. And we didn't even know they were procurement people. They were just hidden somewhere.
Yeah.
And now they're cool kids on the block. That's another case study we can write on the rise of procurement. How did it happen? What did they do? What can we learn? Rather than being haters of another function, we should rather learn. What can we learn from procurement? What did they do that now all of a sudden they are relevant in the boardroom? They are relevant to the CFO and the CEO. What are they doing? The first key thing they're doing is they are minimizing cost, maximizing revenue. They are looking at ways for cost efficiencies. Sometimes they do it too far, but that's not their fault at all. It's also partly because then if we as marketeers look inward, we have lost executive presence. So the function needs a leader that has presence, executive presence, a leader who is respected and listened to. The second one, us as marketeers, we've lost the power of telling great stories, because it is stories that influences board members. Board members have hearts and heads. They're human. They are predictably human. They they are feelings people, they are emotions. That just because they are CEOs and CFOs, procurement, doesn't mean they don't have feelings and emotions because they're engineers. But now all of a sudden, the CMOs that are there lack the ability to tell effective stories. And that is on us. That's not on, what would I call it? That's not on the other functions. That's on us. The third thing, a lot of the CMOs are financial illiterate. Their understanding of the P&L, cash flow, and balance sheet is poor. And that translates to the team. So, and how many CMOs do you know that every time the business publishes its quarterly results or annual results, they sit their team down and they go through monthly what is happening with the company's P&L, what is happening with the company's revenue, cost, and explain to the team what happens when your cost growth exceeds your revenue growth. And there's only two key costs in most companies. It's people cost and marketing and advertising. Those two account for the biggest chunk of cost in a business. So why is it that the teams have very poor understanding of the P&L, especially teams that are outside fast-moving consumer goods? Because if you're in fast-moving consumer goods, you are responsible for the P&L. But in other industries, many industries, you're not responsible for the full P&L. If you're a market, you might not even have a revenue target for that matter. And that is also has become something that is on the CMOs to blame for not allowing or asking and fighting to have a P&L target, to have something that links them back to the business and value creation. That will be the third thing, is in financial literacy is low. And then the last bit is marketing over time behaves as victims. So there's a victim mindset and a victim mentality that somehow there are certain gods out there that wake up every day looking forward to inflict pain on marketing people, which is not true. I mean, I don't know CEOs and CFOs and chief procurement officers who are sadist or Machiavellian or narcissistic, that they wake up and they like, oh, I'm looking forward today to make marketing miserable.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And I think this is all self-inflicted. Something with marketing. And so, sorry. Then the last thing will be, if we ourselves are not using the tools that we claim work
Okay.
in our own function, and we use them poorly, and we talk about visibility, availability, storytelling, winning hearts and minds, but we don't use those same tools in our own discipline, then it means we doubt our discipline. Because you will not see a CFO or chartered accountant not using the tools of their discipline and not trusting the tools of their discipline. You'll not see procurement doing that. You're not going to see the CEO not doing that. Somehow, in this discipline marketing, people go learn how to grow a brand, how to know the user, how to know the product, all of those things. But then they don't apply them in their own discipline. They are poor communicators internally, poor internally within the organization. So those are things for me have nothing to do with the external world. They have to do with us and how we show up in business. Same with agencies. They have to do with how agencies also show up in the world. I mean, creativity accounts for 80% of ROI in media investment. Africa's creativity has been declining.
Oh, okay.
And we know it. If you go at Cannes and you look at winners of Cannes from all Grand Prix, Platinum, all the way down, Africa's representation is declining year on year.
Right.
If you go to all the major awards, if we use awards as a proxy of great work, we are not represented, or we are declining year on year, significantly declining year on year, including South Africa. The rest of the continent is not doing well. So that is not on CAO. That is not on CFO. Even if you had $10, we've seen great work being done with little. So you can't blame it on money. Great ideas are great ideas.
Yeah.
And they don't always need lots of money.
Ooh, wow. There's a lot to unpack of what you just said. So let's take a few steps back. So you talked about, executive presence, having executive presence. What does that mean? How do you describe executive presence? And while you're answering that, there was a point you made. Just slipped my mind. So executive presence. How does a CMO gain executive presence? Financial literacy makes so much sense. Absolutely, I think that's the part that's missing. Maybe even to get the executive presence, because it means that you're able to go head to head in a boardroom and talk numbers with the CFO, CEO, and everyone. The point that I wanted to pick on as well is a storytelling. Just also double click on what that means. Better storytelling. I think they're all kind of linked. Executive presence, financial literacy, storytelling. I feel like they're linked, but maybe just give us a bit more insight in that. What does that actually mean?
So the first part on executive presence is you need to always remember that individual brilliance will win you a game, but it takes a team to win a tournament. So in the corporation, you are in a tournament. That means you need a team, and you need a cross-functional team. And that then means you must not only be interested in the position that you are playing. If marketing is a striker or a midfielder, and sales is the striker that scores the goals or whatever, or engineering is defense or whatever you want, or HR is the goalkeeper, whatever you want to use as an analogy, you cannot just be interested in your own position that you are playing on the field. You also have to be interested in understanding the striker, the defender, the goalkeeper. That means your presence doesn't start in the boardroom. Your presence starts in forming relationships and great partnerships with sales, with procurement, with finance, is spending time with those functions, understanding what are their burning bushes, what are their burning points, how can you be useful and helpful as a function to sales.
Yeah.
How can I be useful and helpful to procurement? Rather than fight and have an adversarial relationship, how do I have a cooperative relationship with procurement? How do I have a relationship with finance? Rather than see finance as an enemy of marketing, how do I have a relationship? So if you have monthly sessions with these people, these key functions, and they are all centered around what are your burning bushes? What are your key areas? How do I pick one or two of those areas and be relevant to your function? How do I become so you start your presence, not you are late if you think you're going to build presence in the board meeting. A lot of these things are played before the game is played. Yeah. So you have to be in the game before the game is played. You have to be where we're training. You have to be where we're having discussions with the other functions. And I even sometimes have to be the one who goes to procurement and or finance, because I spend time with finance team and I know what's happening with the forecast, with the phasing. I know what's happening with revenue. I can also be the one saying, oh, you know what? We're thinking we will sweat this portion of the marketing budget, and we will even be willing to give you 10% back.
Wow.
Proactively, not waiting to be told. So you need to have a more proactive approach to other functions, not just to your function.
Yeah.
And the other functions must see you as someone who understands them. When I sit with a finance person, they must know I understand what return on capital employed means. I understand what return on marketing investment means. I know how it's even calculated. I know the variables that go to that calculation. I can go toe to toe with you, and we can debate, discuss, agree to disagree. That's the part. And then the other thing that gives presence is the ability to be okay with conflict. So you need to be okay with conflict, but you need to be good at fighting right. So you need to learn to fight right. You need to learn to fight right. This is the most important thing, is in your presence is in being able to be okay with conflict and not avoid. conflict, because you are going to have conflict with your other colleagues, because sometimes you're going to have competing goals.
Yeah.
Because also those colleagues have bonuses they want to earn. You also have bonuses you want to earn. They also have kids they want to take to school.
Yeah.
They also have other things other than just work, competing and conflicting goals with your function as well. And that if you're not aware, that's where the poor presence starts. Then the other part is, if you're going to go to a board meeting or leadership executive meeting, get there prepared. Read the pack, read the board pack, make notes, make contributions, pre-read it, even send questions in advance for each function. Send questions in advance. And another part is, if you're going to have executive presence, stop catching feelings that every other function has an opinion on marketing. They should.
Yeah.
Because everyone owns the brand. Not everyone always owns procurement. But when it comes to the brand, it's not yours. It's owned by everyone. So therefore, everyone will have an opinion on the brand. So you need to have to stop having these being oversensitive that from CFO, anyone. Then also teach yourself enough about the other disciplines so that you can have an opinion on finance, on an opinion on HR, and an opinion. So then when you start doing that, the other functions sometimes will even know that, oh, Mzamo knows his work, he knows his discipline, craft, but he also knows our disciplines.
Yeah.
So maybe it will help if we don't challenge him too much, because then he's not going to challenge us back too much.
Yeah.
But you can't do that if you don't immerse yourself in the other functions. And also if you are oversensitive about other functions having opinion on every campaign you make, it's subjective. A lot of the work we do is art and science. And the portion of the art is subjective. So that means you're going to have 100 interpretations of the art.
Yeah.
And you must make peace with that.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why all of a sudden marketers, that's the presence. So that's the presence that I'm mostly speaking about. And then, of course, yes, financial literacy goes a long way, because at the core of the business is shareholder value creation. Whether people like to admit it or not, it's shareholder value creation. Even if you run a non-profit, you still need to generate a surplus. You still need to, whether you want to call it revenue or whatever, but you still need to make money to generate funds to sustain the NGO. That's still value creation. So those things help you have executive presence. And then what also helps have executive presence is being able to offer solutions and ideas to the CEO on how to make this business better. What we can do, what we should be doing, what you're thinking, no matter how stupid the idea is, even if the CEO will be like, oh, that's a stupid idea, but at least you are trying. And that will make the CEO always keep you top of mind.
Yeah.
That whenever there are issues, they will always come to you or call you, all of that. So those are the things that I consider things that will build executive presence. And at the core of it as well is financial acumen.
Wow. Wow, this is a masterclass in how to be an effective CMO for sure. I think the points you're bringing up are so key. You'd mentioned about the tools, like the CMO also believing in the tools that they're recommending. Tell us a bit about what you mean by that.
So if you know that there's power in visual communication, for example, and you know that effective communication means you must first be clear. And if you have time left, 2 seconds, then you can be clever.
Ooh.
But the job of a CMO is not to look clever. The job of a CMO is to be clear. That part, if you make that in your heart as something that is the goal, clever is easy to see in something that is clear. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you don't have to obsess with looking clever in the boardroom. You need to obsess with being clear. The second part, you know that as a marketeer, your job is to be effective, not to be liked. You're not money. Your job, only money is liked by everyone. Your job is to be effective. So when you go to meetings, you are going to meetings to be clear and effective. you don't need to be liked by everyone.
Yeah.
Even God is not liked by everyone. So I don't know why there's an obsession, like all of a sudden a messianic complex where you think you need. Even Jesus have crucified him. So it's not like he was also liked by everyone. So why would you want your discipline to be liked by everyone? It actually sets the discipline at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And then you also know, for example, I've seen CMOs who go present and the entire slide is full of copy, words. It's ugly. But this is supposed to be a person who represent effective communication.
Right. Yeah.
They themselves are poor storytellers and representative of their own discipline.
Yeah.
And that's the first part. So, and it starts with just a visual communication. Why would you take a slide to that board meeting that looks ugly?
Yeah. Yeah.
So little effort was put in putting it together. And you call yourself a communicator and you call yourself a storyteller. And why would you not bring other tools to your storytelling as a marketeer, like video or audio, like virtual?
Right.
Why are you not bringing other things? Because you're the only one. We expect a CFO presentation on results and it to be boring sometimes.
Yeah.
But why can't you even there use them internally at work? But we claim they are effective for the end user. If they're effective for the end user, they should also be effective for the internal employee, for the internal executive leadership management. Those same tools that we claim work for the consumer should also work in the company that you're in. But we don't use them. And then I would say also that we go into meetings trying to survive.
Okay. What do you mean?
What I mean by that, I think a lot of some people go into meetings broke, just scared to lose a job.
Okay.
So the job is more important than doing great work. So if you're going to have CMOs whose aim is to survive and stay in the job, they are not going to give us great work. Because great work requires an element of risk. It requires an element of rubbing people the wrong way sometimes. And it requires an element of pushing
the boundaries
through the boundaries and testing, piloting things but if you have a risk averse CMO who is one paycheck away from poverty or who's shit scared of losing their job, and then you're not going to get great work. And that has nothing to do with the CFO, CEO, or procurement. It's just the person needs to work on themselves to have enough presence and also to have enough self-esteem and also to have enough economic freedom, which will give them mental freedom to do more risky work, more great work. And that's not on CEO, on CFO or procurement. That's on us as marketing.
Wow. So they need to own the role, like really just sit into it and take it, like own it 100%.
Yeah, I mean, there's a word I like a lot. They use craftsmanship. And they talk about you in your function, your role related knowledge. You must demonstrate that you are the craftsman in this role. You are the business. Like you are the person that understands that discipline. Just as much as someone in finance must also hone their craft. Someone in HR must hone their craft. When you come there, we must know, oh, there comes the thought leader in this discipline. Not you come there and already we can outdo you with argument, compete with you and disrespect you, because we're not disrespecting. Really, people disrespect the function, by the way. People are disrespecting the person who's sitting in the seat. Right. The chair is never, hardly ever disrespected. It's the person sitting in that chair who is the problem. You replace that person with another person, all of a sudden that chair starts to look beautiful. It starts to look like a chair that everyone wants to sit in.
Yeah.
So which means most of the time, it's not the chair, it's not the position of the role, it's the person we put into that role that is the problem.
Yeah. Okay. Now, You talked about creativity and the decline of creativity on the continent, which in my mind, I'm thinking, really? Has it declined? I see so many content creators out there and so on. You talked about Cannes, and, Cannes is like the, gold standard of recognizing creativity. Tell me what you mean by that. Like, why is the creativity declining on the continent? What are people, why are people scared to be super creative? What is it? And how can we get ourselves more Cannes lions?
I think what we're doing is, because we told like brand performance is the way to go and we just want to deliver the number, somehow we've forgotten that you can still do great work while delivering the number. You can still make content that people fall in love with and still sells a lot of product. So we then decide, you know what, we're only just going to make stuff that sell. But that means also we make stuff that's boring.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the first part. The second one is there's somehow an inferiority complex that we have, that so whatever worked in the US or in Europe, we just copy paste it and do it here. There's nothing wrong with adopting and adapting other people's work. But what we do badly is it lacks our own cultural context. It lacks our own country, continental context, our people's context, history, political history, economic context, and it lacks linguistics context. I mean, if you look at most, even South Africa, over 90% of the ads will be in English in a country where less than 8% speak English as first language at home. If I'm in Kenya, I look around and I see a lot of content that is not in Swahili. In a country where Swahili is first language, not English. But all of a sudden, English is first language. And we all know that as marketeers, when you talk to someone in their mother tongue, you speak to their heart. When you speak to them in their second language, you speak to their head. We know that, but we don't do it. And all of a sudden, also we have all these people who, because you were educated in Europe or in the US, you think that is the gold standard. So we can somehow, marketers, especially African marketers, still have to be decolonized. They need to decolonize their own minds to start falling in love with their own continent, because we know there's no absence of creativity in music. I mean, if you look at Afrobeat, Amapiano, all of those originate here and now they're global. So we know we can do things that originate here and travel. Nollywood originates here and travels. We can do films that travel. Stories on Netflix that are not just watched by Africans, they are watched globally, that are on Netflix, produced by Africans. So we know the possibility is there and we know it's happening. But when it comes to CMOs, when you look at digital marketing, traditional marketing, whether it be advertising, PR, and you look at the body of work, how much of that body of work can you submit at Cannes and it wins a great prize? Very little. And so that's the second part. The third one is that we just so want to keep our jobs that we will just tick the box and make the CEO happy. And a lot of times now, there's a lot of marketeers being told by CEOs what to do.
100%.
And just tick the box, make them happy. So the job now is no longer to make the end user happy. The job now is to make the CFO, CEO happy, which means we've lost the way. So there's still a lot of things. And also the other part is we've now forgotten that at the end of the day, the desk is a dangerous place to view the world. We still need to go out there and be anthropologists, sociologists, economists, psychologists. We still need to go there and speak to people and be social scientists and understand people so that we can bring the why into the script. And we can bring the why into the big idea. Now we think that because we can do data analytics on a computer and we can do Google Analytics, therefore it's enough. And we will look clever. But we are looking clever, but we are not clear. And we are not effective. So what's the point of having beautiful data graphs, but you don't have the why? And you don't have the big idea, the big insight.
Yeah.
So we're missing all of those things now. That's making our creativity weak.
Yeah.
I would say also the last thing for me has been there's a lot of, with the culture where we were trying to be all inclusive, all belonging, all psychological safety, all, I think we've taken it too far. No one wants to insult anyone anymore. No one wants to uh, have things that are polarizing in views.
Yeah.
Somehow all of us are making vanilla work that we just want to tick a box and we want to be liked by everyone. That's not great work. We must do great work that is polarizing.
Yeah.
Sometimes that makes people be divided. Like, no, I like the content. Oh, no, I dislike it. I like it. And now there's a debate
Yeah.
as to those who hate it and those who like it. And that's great content. But now we make vanilla content.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I just remember, I think when I was doing my studies in marketing, one of the things that they said is, marketing changes discourse or creates discourse. So, to your point, people won't discuss anything that's just, boring. They'll just be like, oh, okay, and move on. But if it's like, piercing up particular, pressing a particular point, they'll be like, whoa, let's discuss this point.
And I mean, one of the things I like in briefs, when people are writing briefs, I always want them to answer, what do you want the audience to think, do, and feel?
Yeah.
Because that's what we are in. We are in the business of help. We are choice architects. As choice architects, we are in the business of helping people make choices, make decisions. And if people are making something like 33 to 35 decisions a day,
Yeah.
we are in the business of helping people simplify complexity. We are in the business of helping people make better choices and better decisions. And we are in the business of making sure that people think differently and feel differently and do differently. That's our business. That's our function. And if we're not doing that, if no one looks at the content and think or do or feel differently, then why are we in this function?
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow. Oh my goodness. We could go on and on and on. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about AI. I think this conversation has to touch on AI a little bit. As AI has brought new opportunities, but has also brought fear, especially around jobs and creative integrity. What's your take on, how CMOs and marketing teams should go about adopting AI? Given everything you just said, should represent a CMO, where does AI fit in there?
I think the way I see it is that as a leader, what you should be doing is you should say to your team, remind your team first what's not changing. People love to remind people about what's changing. AI is just a new broom. But it doesn't mean that 90% about the discipline is changing. All the things that we spoke about in terms of know the user, know the product, know the solution, have insights, big ideas, creative, those things don't change. So before you rush into AI, you must spend time reminding your team what are the core, fundamental, evergreen, blueprint things that don't change when we in this function, because that also helps the brain have less stress. Because if you start saying AI, you are sounding like everything is changing, and that's not true. Actually, very little. AI is one of the tools and enabling tools that we're going to use to either simplify complexity, increase productivity, that will partner with us to do certain things that we no longer need to do. It will do some of those things so that we have free time to do the things that matter the most. So I don't see it as I think we should be very careful to, whenever we introduce new brooms, we throw the baby with the bathwater and we forget to say, here are the things that are fundamentally marketing. The 4 Ps or 7 Ps will always be 4 Ps, 7 Ps. Segmentation will always be segmentation. Insights will always be insights. What new tool you have now in your toolbox is called AI. That's a new tool now you have in your toolbox that you can now apply to enhance the things that are evergreen about marketing.
Yeah.
And also to increase productivity, to simplify complexity. And AI at the moment is going to be a core partner and something that we co-pilot with, but it's not going to be the thing we delegate to. It's not a tool we're going to delegate. And by the way, in the long run, AI, if it was like the Hollywood Oscars, if it was the Oscars, AI should never win Best Actor, Best Actress, Best. AI should win Best Wardrobe, Best Technical Support, Best. It's not supposed to be the visible tool. It's supposed to be the tool that does magic behind the scenes. And the big idea, the creative, it's still the hero of the story. The end user is still the hero of the story. The brand is still the hero of the story, not AI. If AI were to win awards, it will win awards about technical support, best music score. The things that no one really always pays attention to. Like, AI is effective when you no longer need to know that there's AI behind the scenes. Like, for example, most of our phones have always had AI features, but no one ever bothered to ask.
Yeah, true.
Just because now Gen AI made AI a thing, it doesn't mean AI hasn't been with us for years. AI has been with us for years.
Yeah.
You know a tool is effective when sometimes it's silent. So I don't need the tool to be loud for it to be effective. And so for me, I need slowly to, as a marketeers, to start using AI AI must be in the background, doing all the work that we no longer need to do, whether it be in insights, data analysis, data science, and whether it be media buying, media planning, whether it be creative production, that can it help us produce some of that content that will go on retail marketing, will go on sponsorship or PR, or can it help us write better copy, help us generate new ideas? Can it brainstorm with us? So I see it more as a partner. The fear for me, in most things in life for me, fear comes from ignorance. Fear and prejudice correlates in my world with ignorance. And the higher the ignorance, the higher the fear and the prejudice. Because prejudice and fear is a long-term emotional commitment to ignorance. And the more ignorant you are about AI, the more. So what is required is for us to reduce the ignorance. And remember, Darwin says in the origins of the species, it's not survival of the fittest, it's survival of those who are most responsive to change. And therefore it means we must fall in love with change. Or else, if you don't like change, you will have to fall in love with irrelevance. So you might as well then fall in love with change and then start figuring out, how do I integrate AI? How do I play, experiment, play with the team, and also show as a CMO ignorance where you are ignorant, so that the team know you're not God, you're not omniscient, you're not all-knowing, you have a lot of things you don't know, and create Fridays, even if it's called AI Play Fridays, where as a team you all play. You pick up Copilot, you pick up Google Gemini, you pick up Claude or DeepSeek, or you pick up tools, LLM models, you pick up media planning AI tools, and you play. And you start playing, and everyone starts playing, and you make it fun. You make it not something that, like, if I don't know what to do this, I'm scared I'm going to lose my job.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time where we didn't know about programmatic buying. No one lost their job because we raised our hands that we don't know what programmatic buying is. We didn't know what through the line meant. There was always a time when concepts and tools are added in our discipline. We just need to admit when we don't know things and then go out and learn. How many marketeers have done basic courses on AI? How many of them have done how AI affects creativity or music or production? How many of them have called production houses in to say, what's going on in your world? How is AI affecting production? How is AI affecting radio? How is AI affecting editing or creative or filming or whatever? And that's how we embed AI into, we use it to simplify complexity and increase productivity.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I am so challenged. This is just a well of knowledge and insight that you shared with us, Dr. Mzamo. As we close, do you have any parting shots or last points you want to make before we close this session?
I would say that we, as marketeers or CMOs, we need to worship both art and science. We need to live in the intersection between art and science. We need to realize that the discipline is evolving. Anyone who doesn't like maths or doesn't like numbers is going to have a problem with this discipline in the now times. And anyone who only likes art and doesn't like science might not be a good representative of a discipline. So either way, whether you are in an agency or you are in client, you need to worship both art and science. And then you need to live in the intersection between art and science. And then you also need to remember that at the end of the day, we're here to serve the end user honorably at a profit. If we remember, it has to be honorably at a profit. And if we do that, then our discipline will never lack relevance.
Yeah. Wow. Mic drop right there. Thank you so much, Dr. Mzamo Masito. It's been a real pleasure. I think we could even do a version 2 of this as well, because I think there's still so much more to unpack. But I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to speaking again soon.
Super. Thank you very much.
Excellent. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a fellow marketing leader or tag us in your reflections. And don't forget to follow or subscribe to the MarTech Unraveled podcast for more real conversations at the edge of marketing and innovation. Until next time, stay curious and stay strategic.